again, to everyone, just feel free to ask questions. We're just going to give you a quick overview of the club and kind of what we're all about. Um, let's see. Can everyone see the picture?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. So my name's Dale. I am the Commodore of Hillsboro Inlet Sailing Club. I'll be kind of directing this little show and tell we have going on. I'm going to introduce some of the people that are going to be here to help answer your questions real quick before we jump in. This is Paul Alcock. He's our Vice Commodore. He's also going to talk about cruising. Although I don't see him in the meeting, I don't know if he's having technical difficulties or what. But hopefully he'll join us in a bit. Barry Simmons runs our youth sail program, and he's been working hard to get this up and running. He'll talk a little bit about that. Bob Schuldenfrei is our membership chair and one of our past Commodores. So Bob, why don't I just go ahead and turn it over to you, and you talk about membership and club overview and whatever you'd like to present.
Well, thank you. I've been a member of numerous organizations in my life: fraternities, religious organizations, professional groups, yacht clubs, interest groups, civic organizations, etc. Never have I been a member of any of these that are as warm a group of people as the HISC. I'm Bob Schuldenfrei. I'm membership chairman this year and was past Commodore 2 years ago. There are 4 functional areas of the club. Each of them will be discussed tonight by another member. They are cruising, racing, social, and youth sailing. What's the difference between a traditional yacht club and a sailing club? Cost is the answer. Because we have no fixed facilities, save the boats that we use for youth sailing, we have a very low cost structure. With no building or staff, we can offer family memberships for $150 a year. All of our big parties are pay-as-you-go, but numerous parties are potluck suppers that don't cost us anything. Have you ever belonged to an organization that is run by a small clique who do everything? The HISC works because a great number of the members divide up the work. There are over 80 elected or appointed positions, all of them filled by volunteers. Some of these jobs are really big, like the racing chair, but most are small. There's one committee, the family picnic, that revolves around one event held once a year. In the past, we've utilized a number of methods of recruiting new members: trade shows, word of mouth, member referrals, Facebook page, youth sailing, ads and banners, raft ups are the methods we have used in the past that have been successful. However, to cope with the new normal, we've had to make changes. Facebook has taken on a major role. We have returned to a large file of names in our database to publicize our virtual meetings. Many of you here tonight because your name appeared in one of our Facebook pages, or we met you years ago. The HISC is famous for one party a week average in the past. Now, most of these are small affairs like after race potluck suppers and raft ups and the like. But some of them are big formal affairs like our change of command dinner dance or our holiday dinner party. We are continuing with telepresence on Zoom. We held our April general meeting 3 weeks ago in this manner, and it was a big success. During the month, we held happy hours, webinars, and this meeting. The picture that you see in front of you is a happy hour that we had, what was this week? We had our I lost my place here. Okay. Weekly parties will continue, and we'll get into a schedule of them. These techniques have worked. We are bringing in new members. Last month we inducted 5. At our May general meeting in 2 weeks, we will have 4 new members. I trust many of you will join us in membership at the June meeting. Why is this the case? We have renewed the feeling of comradeship that was wounded by the COVID-19 virus. At a time when other organizations are failing and losing members, the Hillsboro Inlet Sailing Club is growing. What are the next steps? Dale, you have that slide? Okay. So the next steps that you need to take if you want to join in the fun is fill out an application. Many of you have received one by mail. Otherwise, just ask me, and membership at HISC.org. I will provide you with sponsors. Normally, the sponsors you would meet at a general meeting, but because we're doing this all with telepresence, I will provide you sponsors. You need to mail in a check for membership. The board will provide a member to do a board interview. You'll get a board approval. Then you'll be inducted into the club. And then we actively want you to participate in any and all activities. And hopefully you'll join in taking up the responsibilities of running one of our committees, serving on one of our committees, and move up through the ranks of the elected offices. Thank you for putting up with my stumbling through this little speech. And Dale, I'll turn it back to you.
All right, thank you, Bob. Good job. I just want to pick out a couple of things that Bob said. One of the things being that we are a sailing club, we're not a yacht club. So we don't have a lot of assets. All the boats in the club are member owned. The captains, they captain them themselves. So really it's a group of sailors that just love the art of sailing. So what brings us here? Why are we presenting this and trying to recruit new members? It's because we want you to come join us. So we just enjoy the group. We enjoy the sailing, we enjoy the racing, and the more the merrier. So we're just trying to get the word out that this group exists, and you know, we have a good thing going here. Let's talk about racing a little bit. Again, if anyone has any questions, go ahead and stop me and let me know. So HISC has a pretty active racing program. I'm going to give you a second to take a look at this slide. This is our schedule for the remainder of the year. You notice that we have a lot of races on the schedule. Now, up until now, of course, we've had to cancel a few because of the virus situation, but you'll see we do the races that are on this list, plus beer can races Wednesdays, every Wednesday, June to August. Those are very popular among the members. We have good turnout for those. And then we also join in some non-club sponsored races, like Miami Key Largo. You'll also see their Key West race. Our club is very active. We actually had some people do the Miami to Cuba a couple years ago. They've got good reviews of that. All these events can be seen on our website, www.hisc.org, to see this calendar, which I've pictured here. So how do we organize these races? We have a race committee that basically sets these things up. This is a typical setup for our buoy races and you know, the beer can races as well. I don't know if you can see can you see my cursor on the screen, the mouse? How about that?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. So we're talking, yeah, here's where the inlet is down here. The Hillsboro Inlet is down at the bottom of this screen. So what we end up doing is we go out the Hillsboro Inlet, or if us from Fort Lauderdale go out the Port Everglades, head north, and the start mark is about a mile north of the Hillsboro Inlet. We set an east mark and a south mark, and then basically we set it up to do windward leewards and some reaches. So basically speaking, you might do around the east mark, around the start, around the south, around the start, around the south, back to start. So pretty typical triangles or windward leewards then we start those just north of Hillsboro Inlet. Typical races, number of boats we have vary. We can have as few as 5 or 6, as many as 20 boats on the race course. So just to give you a little feel for what it looks like, you can see here we got our part of our fleet here heading for this buoy. Actually, this is probably the box, and that's probably the start line. Boats of all different sizes. I have a 32. We have some 27s, Cal 27s in the fleet. So we've got, what is it, an Oyster 56 that used to be in the fleet. So we built boats of all different sizes. We used to have a couple trimarans. This is the remaining trimaran in the fleet. They do very well, as you would imagine, right? Does anyone here have a trimaran or a catamaran that wants to admit it? Steve, yours was a monohull, right?
Me? Yeah. I got a 39. Yeah.
39. Yeah, that's a 39, 37. I think probably 37 is the average size of the boats in the fleet. We actually run, I don't have a slide for this, we actually run, just so everyone knows, we run 3 different classes. We run a ARC class, which is actually quite competitive. That's what this trimaran would run in. ARC class, we run spinnakers, and it's a pretty competitive fleet. Those that are in ARC really want to win. We have a jib and main fleet, a little less competitive, but still, people in that fleet really do their best to compete. And then we have what we call a gunk hole fleet, and that's for the rest of us that winning isn't really our main goal. It's going out to have fun. And it also is a good place for people that aren't used to racing to get some experience before they move up to the other fleets. So anyone that's listening that wants to either bring their boat out, learn how to race, or is not quite sure of whether they want to do that, come join the gunk hole fleet. Low pressure, low stress. And it's basically a good time. And the gunk hole fleet is the kind of fleet where you have one guy grinding a winch with one hand and holding a drink in the other. Place for basically what I'm getting at is our place for everyone. We're pretty visible in the Hillsboro Inlet area. As you can see, this picture was taken from one of the condos. A lot of the people in the area know who we are. They see us go out on the Sundays. So it's a pretty visible group. Beach committee. We run most of the races with a beach committee on the beach that takes the time and sets the flags. Also a good place to learn, for anyone that wants to get into racing, learning the flags. Come join us. You'll learn how these things operate, how the starts operate. So that's the beach committee. Also, if you want to learn how to race too, we're always looking for volunteers to serve on the beach committee to help us out there. A great place to learn how this racing stuff works. Of course, after every race, we have a after race party. Of course, this has been suspended for the time being, but we're going to resume as soon as we can. We do offer up trophies for the races, and we just have a really good time. So after every race, we do an after race party. This is usually hosted at one of the houses of one of our members. They volunteer, open up their homes, and we present the trophies. Any questions with race so far?
Nope.
No questions.
Dale, I think there was one question written in about small boat racing.
Oh, was that in the chat window? I wasn't watching the chat window. So the small boat races, what are we talking about? Hobies? Who asked the question?
Yeah, that was me, Aaron Sandow. I grew up as a laser sailor. Took a break for college, have a career, and studied. Got here for work 5 years ago. I want to get back into laser sailing. Do you guys do anything like that, or?
Our racing is geared towards the bigger boats. We don't really have a small boat fleet. We don't have a Sunfish or a laser fleet. Although that I do have to tell you that is a common question we get, and it's something that I've been talking with some of our racers about, is starting a small boat fleet. But we just haven't got any traction on that yet.
Awesome.
For those of you that, so Aaron, let me just go this route. For those of you that don't have a larger boat, the captains in our club are always looking for people to crew. So if you, we don't really guarantee that you get on a boat, but what you can do is go to the meetings, go to the events, and work the room. And I don't know anyone that wanted to get on a boat that hasn't. So it's just a matter of how involved you get in the club and whatnot. But crewing on these bigger boats is a common thing among our members that don't have a boat of their own.
Cool. Okay. And if
Any other questions on racing?
the laser stuff develops over the years, I'm certainly interested.
Yeah, absolutely. We do. I mean, we do have some lasers on it. We use them mostly in our youth sail program, so there's nothing really organized around it, but we do have them. So, and that's something that you know, we've talked about. I'm not sure how soon or if it will happen, but it's something that we're exploring.
Sure.
Right.
Thank you.
No
And
problem.
Dale, thanks about talking about crewing, because I'm a part timer. My wife's down here most of the time. I'm in Indianapolis at least half the time, if not 3/4 of the time. Effectively, I couldn't grab a crew and keep them occupied on my boat. So at least for a while, I'm looking at crewing for somebody for a while.
Okay, yeah, absolutely, fantastic. We do have a crew pool run on Facebook. Basically, you can go to Facebook. I'll give you the address later. You can go on Facebook and just basically comment that you're looking for a boat to go on, and we do get a lot of responses from that. So we do have a mechanism for putting yourself out there.
And you can warn us who not to hook up with.
You know what? I really, honestly, in the club, it all depends on your goals. If you want a hardcore race, that's one captain. If you want a casual race, that's another. But I would never say don't go with this guy or don't go with that guy, because we have a fantastic racing fleet.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, of course. All right, let's move on. Paul, you out there? Let's see, where's Paul?
He sent a question in. He's out there somewhere.
Oh, I see.
Hey, come on, guys. I might not be a racer, but you know.
Take it over, Paul. Let's talk cruise.
Okay. Well, if you think racing is exciting, to me, cruising is everything. We've got a 34-foot Catalina. It's an older boat. It's not really into racing mode. And I think that matches quite a few people in the club. So for cruisers, do you have the slide up for that, Dale?
I do.
There it is, yeah. For the cruisers, we typically cruise and meet at a location. For example, in this picture, you can see we've cruised up to Lake Boca. A bunch of us got together. This might be one of those times when we've tried to do a circle raft up. But we basically will all go down to a particular location. It might be Lake Boca, could be Lake Sylvia near Fort Lauderdale, or even down to, we're planning hopefully this year to go down to Moore Lake. And we've talked about, and we've done it in the past, where we've gone down to Dinner Key in Miami or to Nixon's down in Miami. And of course, we have the upcoming cruise over to Bimini if it happens at the end of May. We do that every year. The cruising is a lot of fun. You get a chance to go out and sail with the other guys to go to the destination, but that's normally by arrangement. So I might turn around to someone and say, hey, we're going to leave on Friday. Anybody else? And other guys will all sail up from, for example, Fort Lauderdale up to Hillsboro, and then go up to Lake Boca or wherever it is the cruise is located. We'll raft up if in groups. Typically, a cruise consists of 3 host boats, and they'll all raft together. And then everybody else either anchors on their own or rafts up with their buddies, and it's really easy to get a raft up buddy. Then on a Friday night, we'll typically, because not everybody will turn up on Friday night, we'll typically have like a cocktail hour where we'll all come over to the host boats and we'll share some drinks and stories. Saturday, most people start to arrive. On Saturday afternoon, we play some fun games, anything from blind man's dinghy driving to single oar dinghying to kind of a bingo where you go around the boats to get information about all the different boats. Dale has put up a list here, but he's only showing the cruises from May onwards. Hopefully we'll be able to do the Memorial Day cruise, which will be in over to Bimini. But you can see we have Father's Day, Independence Day. Independence Day is normally done down at the Bahia Mar, because it means that we can watch the fireworks in the evening, we can use their pool during the day, and they give us a really good rate, so it works out well for us. Labor Day cruise is always very popular. Oktoberfest, yeah, that's one of my favorites. They all are. I thoroughly enjoy it. I always get deeply into the cruising and have a good time. Chili cook-off, well, if you're good at cooking or you've got a partner that's good at cooking chili, then that's definitely worth a trip. The circle raft up is the big one. That's when we do the change of command circle raft up. And I think Dale's trying to show a picture here. It's coming through slowly. What we try to do, and it's very dependent on the weather, is to form a large circle. Thank you, Dale. You nailed it on that one. We form a large circle. I think the most boats we've ever had in the circle raft up was 72. I think we were trying it for a Guinness Book of Records or something.
Yeah, that is correct. That is correct. 72 was our biggest year.
I think that was 4 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago. But you can see where we're at there. We're in the northeast corner of Lake Boca. This photograph was taken by one of the members who's got property in the condos that look down on the lake. So it was a really handy dandy time to take some photos. Not all of the boats participated in the circle raft up simply because they wanted to leave before we would break up the following morning. But most of the boats are there. And if you can see in the middle of that picture, you can see there's a bunch of dinghies in the middle of the raft up. That's when we all go out on our dinghies, we take out trays of food and we share them around. It really is fun. This year we did something a little bit differently because it was too windy to form a major raft up. And so we did a raft up where I was one of the host boats, Dale was one of the host boats. We had our raft up, everybody came over to us. Well, nearly everybody. There was, I think, 3 or 4 boats were rafted away from us. And I don't know if they didn't have dinghies or if they were having too many beers, but they didn't join us. So we decided that we'd join them, and we literally took, you can see how many boats are in this picture. It was just like this. We got 3 dinghy motors going, and we rafted the whole dinghy raft over to the other group of boats, and made sure that they participated. So cruises are really popular. When we go cruising, I think it's time for the next. Yep, when we go cruising, we have cruising flags. This is a little way of encouraging people to participate in the cruises. You earn a point when you attend a cruise. You earn 2 points if you host a cruise. And when you get 10 points, you earn a flag. Well, this year, in 2018, this was the flag. Each year we develop a new flag. And the 2020 flag is out now. Nobody's got it yet, but they're getting close to it. We all know what the points are because they're online in a constant on a spreadsheet that is maintained on a constant basis. There's always a little bit of rivalry as to who can get the cruising flag first time around. You can see they get the points. So there's a little bit of a competition as to who can be at the cruise on a Friday and a Saturday to get the extra points, or to be the host. Hosting is a delight. I love hosting cruises, either as the host or one of the co-hosts. And the reason is that it means that you're going to get to meet the majority of the members. They come over to meet you and see about your boat and the other boat. It really is a great way to meet with the other members, and it expands the social pool tremendously. So cruising is one of those things that if you want to take a relaxed weekend, head down, join up with us, and probably bring something to share. We normally have a bring something to share dinner on Saturday night. A couple of the cruises, like the chili cook-off, it's bring something to share, but it's always chili. So
Right.
it's one of those things that it really involves the family. You more often than not, you'll see the whole family. That's mum, dad, as well as kids, even coming out on the cruises. So it's very popular. I don't know what the next slide is. I don't remember.
So maybe we can field some questions about
Yeah.
cruise, if anyone has any questions. Don't be shy.
Yeah, I'm being too explicit. Yes, Stephen.
Nah, I don't.
Oh,
think-
yeah.
I'm
I
good.
see you turn your mic on. Right. All right. So cruising is one of those things that we literally have a cruise every I think it's every month of the year. But also we encourage people to go cruising on their own with other club members, and that's the way that they get extra points. So for example, my wife and I are taking our boat out this Sunday evening. We're going to be out on Monday, so we're hoping we can encourage one or two other members to come and meet up with us on Monday night, so we can have a socially distanced cruising event, and earn the extra points as well. So that I can strongly recommend that you get involved in the cruising curriculum. Oh, it's me again.
It's you again, Paul. Take it up. Take it away.
All right. One of the things that the club does is every month we produce an inlet outlet newsletter, and I'm the editor. The various committee members submit articles. Like Dale gives the article from the helm every month. If there's a cruise, I normally get a cruising article from them, and similar from racing. But it's something that we put it on the club website so anybody can see it. It's open to the public, which means that we don't put information in it that is, could be misconstrued, or abused. So we don't put club members' names in there anymore. We used to, but then we used to make the newsletter private to club members only. But now we've opened it so it's available to the public. And we actually get quite a bit of contact from the newsletter. If ever you're into writing an article, I'll be knocking on your door saying, hey, want a pen? So, you're welcome to submit articles for the inlet outlet. We get everything.
And the newsletter is available on the website. Right on the homepage is a link.
Yeah.
To grab the latest newsletter. So, while you're here on the computer, you can take a look at that.
Yeah.
After the call.
Yeah, the May issue will go up either by the end of day tomorrow or certainly by the end of day Saturday. Yeah.
Very good. All right. Thank you, Paul.
Pleasure.
All right. Let's talk youth sail. Barry.
Hey, good evening, everybody.
Take it away.
So youth sailing, one of the aspects that the club gives you is we teach we use 4 weekends sessions twice a year. So that's four sessions in the spring and 4 sessions in the summer, usually March and August. And we run about a 3-hour class out at Quiet Waters Park, and these classes are free to the children of members. If you are not a member, it's $75 per child per session. So if you have 1 child and you enroll in 2 sessions, you have paid for a membership already. So you might as well buy a membership and enjoy the rest of the festivities these guys have been talking about, and take advantage of that. But we take children ages 8 to 18, and they don't have to have any prior skills coming out to our classes. They just have to be a proficient swimmer. And we give them a quick swim test, swim 50 yards in your clothes and shoes prior to starting the course. We have certified instructors, and they have to be in order to teach the class. We've got 3 types of boats we use. We have Optimus prams, we have Sunfish. There's a good Sunfish photo. And we have the latest boat we've just acquired is the Open Bic, which we picked those up there. They were wrapped in bubble wrap. All of those are not ours. We only have 8.
That is the picture when you picked them up, Barry, though, right? Those are the.
There was like 30 something laying there for the regatta that they were going to use them for, and so yeah, they were looking for buyers actually at the time. But,
That's the sailing club I grew up at.
that's a really nice club. That's
It really is.
an operation up there. So hats off to those guys.
Do you pull in a lot of kids for the program? How popular is it?
I don't know. I just took over the program, and my first session was going to be in March, so I can't give you a history of it.
I can take that, Barry. Yeah, so I've been participating in the youth sail for years now. I usually take a kayak and I go out there and help instruct the kids, sometimes pull them out of the weeds. But we usually get 20 to 25 per session.
I think the most we've ever had is 30.
Yeah, we've had up to 30. That's not typical, but 20 to 25. Let's see here. That's probably half the kids on that slide there. Those are the smaller kids. Yeah, but it's definitely a good group of kids.
Traditionally, the graduates of the program become the instructors in the program. It's happened a couple of times in the history of the club.
Yeah, actually, the slide I'm presenting now, we have one of the kids here is a graduate who's an instructor, and then the two little kids here are actually part of the program, and under some certain races, I think this is actually a ladies' day race. We will take kids out on the bigger boats when they're ready. So these kids are actually racing the trimaran on our ladies' day race. So we do graduate them to bigger boats as they're capable.
Any questions?
Any questions?
For you sailing, I mean.
If anyone's out there is talking and we're not hearing you, you do have to unmute yourself. So just in case anyone's out there thinking we're not hearing you, well, we aren't. And you can unmute yourself and ask the questions. All right, let's talk social. So the other aspect of our club is the social aspect. I'm not going to spend too much time on this. We do a couple formal parties every year, holiday party, which is shown here. We also do a change of command party where the Commodore hands the gavel off to the next year's Commodore. These are very fun and well-attended events. We have in excess of 100 participants on the regular for dinner and dancing. Here you can see, this is not all the events, but some of the events that we do host. Change of command is on this list. We have a landlubber party. The Commodore's Cup is a big social event. In addition to these social events, we also do a Tuesday virtual happy hour over Zoom. This is something we just introduced because people, it's a social group, it really is. And everyone, when they get on this virtual happy hour on Tuesdays, it's quite active because everyone's just hasn't seen each other for a while because of the circumstances. But we're going to get these social events up and running as soon as we can. Also, Thursday meetings, every second Thursday, we have a general meeting. Right now, again, they're done over Zoom, but we generally have those at Galuppi's in Pompano. Big event, probably 80 to 90 people show up for that. That's where we talk about our upcoming activities and share our sailing stories. Here you can see another one of our dinners. This is a group of past Commodores. These are my volunteers. So this is actually a recent picture when I was inducted as a Commodore, when I was given the gavel. These are my volunteers. So these are the people, this is the group that runs the club. This would be anything from membership, youth sail, and cruising like our panelists here are doing, to beach committee, we do blood drives, social committees in here. If you're ever looking to get involved and work with a great group of people, this is it. All very good people, a lot of great sailors in this group.
That's a very big part of the club, if I may, Dale.
Sure.
There are about 80 positions within the club that we have to fill in order to complete all of the tasks that it takes to manage a club of this size. So many of the people you see in that picture are wearing more than one hat, as I do, as Dale does, as Bob does, and Barry as well. In fact, I think the high proportion of us seem to have 2 jobs. So that's another aspect of the club. It's really nice to be involved. You know, it's not just the place that you go to and sit at the bar and have a drink. We're all communicating all the time, and it's very much a live and active club. Thanks, Dan.
Paul, you said there are about 80 people involved in the committees and all that. How many members do you have?
Well, Dale answer that. Dale.
Yeah, Bob, you want to take that, or you want me to take that?
You have the exact number there. It's a little bit less than 200 memberships, and that represents probably about 450 people by the time you get significant others, children, and hangers-on.
That's correct. I don't know the exact numbers, but our household memberships does hover around or just below 200. So 200 households that amount to usually around just over 400 people, 420 to 450 people, individuals, and that's including, you know, that's kids and whatnot. So it's a good sized group.
Well, and it's a good ratio of volunteers who are actually helping out as opposed to the hangers on.
Right,
Absolutely.
right. It is, and you just like any club, we have a core. There's a pretty core group. That's the group you'll want to get involved with. Avid sailors, very active, just great people. And then we do have those that we see once a year or whatnot. But for the most part, we are a very, very active club with a very active core group of members.
Typically, we will have, when we had meetings face to face, it would not be unusual for at least 100 members to turn up at a general meeting. And if there was a speaker that really generated a lot of interest, it would swell up well above that.
Yeah, I think 80 to 100 is our average. We hover somewhere between 80 and 100. It's not unusual to get 100 members at any of our general meetings. Any other questions out there? Am I missing anybody?
Not regarding social, but could you mention about the coastal races?
The coastal races, yeah, absolutely. And they were on the schedule that I showed. Maybe I can bring that back up. Yeah, bear with me just one second. Let me see if I can jump to that slide.
Can I ask a question while you're looking for that slide, if it's okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
How you doing? My name is Ramon, and have not signed up yet, so I'm very interested in doing this. And I'm actually new to sailing, so I'm looking for opportunities. I don't have a boat yet, but that doesn't preclude me to become a member and start learning and be helping out as well.
Absolutely not. We have, shoot, I don't know what the exact numbers are, but about half of our households that are members have boats, and about the other half do not. Most of the people that do not have boats will crew on races, or they will go. There's a bunch of members out there that are just looking to go day sailing, and they want, you know, company or people to go with them. Let me tell you my story. I, you know, for better, you know, whether it was smart or not, I went out and I bought my boat with no experience, and I didn't know how to sail it, and so I joined this club basically to learn for, you know, basically bounce questions off of people, and I learned how to sail in this club from ground zero. So it's a great place to be if you either want to learn or want to get on a boat to crew, or, you know, something to that effect. Like I said earlier, I don't know when you jumped on the call, but at the beginning of the call, I did mention that the club is, the boats in the club belong to members of the club. We don't have boats for rent. We don't have boats that belong to the club itself. But I'll tell you what, if you come to the meetings and you work the room, I don't know anyone that wanted to get on a boat to race or cruise or whatever that wasn't able to do so. There's plenty of boats in the club, plenty of captains looking for a crew, but you do have to be active and work the room.
Yeah, it is a case of you get out of it what you put into it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, and don't be shy. We sit around the table and have a cocktail hour a half an hour before the general meetings start. Make it known that you want to go out. Now, we just recently sold our boat, but I always used to take out new members who didn't have boats. We didn't race a lot, but just day sailing. And many of the cruising events will cruise to a dock facility like the Bahia Pier 66 when it was in operation, maybe in operation again. And often on Saturday, the boats will just go out and sail for the day, just day sailing. And you make it known that Friday night you come to the party by car, and you say, "Hey, is anybody going out on Saturday?" I'm sure. Just the people who are club members in this group often are very willing to take you out for just day sails.
Let me circle back to what Paul said and mention the coastal races, because when I was talking racing, I basically showed, let's see, this slide, which is a buoy race where we do windward leewards around a triangle. The coastal races are quite different. We'll do something much more into a straight line. I don't have a map for it. Do something more in a straight line, like Hillsboro Inlet to the PE buoy and back. So those are great casual races. A lot of our non-racers come out for those. We get a lot of catamarans and cruising boats that come out for those. Those are great races to get on too, because they're much more casual. Usually, I mean, since it's PE and back, if it's an east or west wind, it's
that's Port Everglades.
Once.
Port Everglades, PE. Port Everglades.
Port Everglades, the PE. Port Everglades buoy. So basically, yeah, Pompano to or Deerfield to Fort Lauderdale. So the coastal races are great, and some of our coastal races are actually destination races. Nederlanden, June 20th, generally coastal race, just down the coast, down to Port Everglades, and then we have a party at Bahia Mar afterwards. Did I cover that okay, Paul?
And the West Palm Beach race, of course.
West Palm Beach race.
Yeah, really popular.
Mary Wells race is also a coastal race. So lots of those different races.
The same general rule: got a race, got a party.
Right, exactly. I think we're coming to the end here. Just a couple of things to mention. We'd like to invite you to either of these events. We're running a lot out of telepresence right now because of the situation, but we are going to open up the club soon as the local governments allow it, and as long as we deem it safe, we will start meeting in person again. For the time being, we have a couple virtual events that you're welcome to join us. You'll need to contact me for the meeting information, but you're welcome. We'll send you that, and you're welcome to join us. Virtual happy hour on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. This is exactly what it sounds like. It's a virtual happy hour. I do not control it. It's a free for all, and as the night goes on, it gets a little chaotic as people talk over each other. But it's a great time and a great place to learn just how awesome these members of ours are. General meetings, the next one is May 14th. It's the second Thursday of every month. Again, this is more controlled. It's more like a broadcast, but that's where we talk about our upcoming events. And we're addressing a lot the current situation and our plan to restart races, our plan to basically get back out on the water as things start to loosen up. So you can always contact me for that information. Visit our website, hisc.org. The calendar that I showed you is on. A lot of these screenshots were of the website. The newsletter was from there. Upcoming events are always announced on there. Articles about our previous events, take a look at it. If you're a Facebooker, Hillsboro Inlet Sailing Club has a Facebook page. Feel free. You can join it. You don't have to be a member to join our Facebook group. Come and join the conversation. Okay.
Did you mention about the programs?
I did not, Paul. Do you want to talk about that? I actually don't have a slide for it.
Okay.
I didn't get to that. So
okay.
Go ahead.
So, well, every month we have the general meeting. It's typically the second Thursday of the month. The first half of the meeting is a business meeting. Well, no, the first quarter of the meeting is cocktail time. Then we have the business meeting. And then after a brief break from the business meeting, we have the presentation is provided by various speakers. And we have some awesome speakers. This past month, although it was a Zoom meeting, we had a guy from North Sales give an absolutely superb presentation on sail trim. I mean, it was first class. We just the other week, we had a presentation by Pam Wall. Normally, we would have those presentations after the general meeting, but while we're in the Zoom presence, we're trying to do them more often. And I think we've got a couple more lined up, don't we, Dale?
Yes, we do. Actually, this coming meeting, Pam Wall, who's a well-known local cruiser, she did a presentation, and we only really got halfway through it. So for this upcoming meeting, we're going to have her do the second half of her program, which is outfitting your boat for blue water sailing. She talked about all the rigging and all that on the exterior of the boat she's needed. This upcoming meeting, we're going to talk about the interior of the boat and how to outfit it for, basically blue water cruising. So that will be on May 14th. Again, everyone's welcome to join. You just have to email me so I can give you the meeting.
And we also have presentations from various quasi-government organizations. For example, we've had the Florida Fish and Wildlife. We've had various professors from universities come and talk to us about various aspects of the environment that is particularly pertinent to sailors. So the presentations that we get are pretty high quality.
Probably ought to mention, since you're talking about governments too, the Bahamas.
Yep.
The Bahamas. I don't know what the
Bahamas Board of
Mission.
Tourism. Yeah.
Is that what it is? They present once a year with questions about cruising to the Bahamas, customs, all the tags you need, requirements. Can you take pets? They answer all of those questions and give a good overview of the best and most efficient way to get there and enjoy yourselves while you're there and not get caught in the red tape. Another one we have about every other year is Gary Jobson will come and do his presentation about America's Cup. I'm not sure if you're familiar with him, but a famous America's Cup guy, sailor turned broadcaster, comes and does a fantastic presentation on America's Cup.
And an honorary member of the HISC, has been so for years.
He is.
So hypothetically, if we get out of this coronavirus shutdown, now that you're familiar with the Zoom platform, if I'm stuck in Indianapolis and can't get down here for one of these presentations, are you going to integrate the Zoom platform in?
That's a great question. Paul, do you want to take that?
I literally just discussing this with Dale earlier this week. And I was saying, when we do get back to meeting at the general meeting, can we also do a Zoom broadcast of the meetings? I totally agree with you. Because there's going to be people that are away that really want to see the presentation, but also it just expands the route of getting to the meetings if you just can't.
And disseminating the information. I am all about exploring. I mean, really, it's like necessity is the mother of invention here. We were kind of forced into this, and what we have found is a great medium for bringing people together, albeit not in person. Like this presentation now, this is something we just never did. Maybe we'll do it once a month. If you want to know about the club, come join us. And I don't see any reason why we wouldn't broadcast meetings and other events.
I'm curious.
So it's a great question.
I'm curious to know what the attendees, think of this concept of doing the introduction via Zoom. Anyone?
Well,
Yeah, sure. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Ramon.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think it's effective, especially those that are curious and just wanted to join remotely. just to see what the show is. I think from an information perspective, I enjoyed it. And I'm in this business, so the video and WebEx is my thing. I mean, so so for me, it's secondhand. It's not a problem. But I see it's useful because there have been times I've traveled. And I've been trying to I've been to a meeting about a year ago, but there's been time I wanted to come and start participating, but I was traveling a lot and I couldn't. So, and it always seems to be that I'm coming in on that Friday, day after the meeting. So this is a great opportunity, like Stephen says, if there's an opportunity to make it a hybrid, to be able to participate and come download remotely and see it and be part of the meeting regardless, that's effective in my perspective.
Yeah,
this is Jeff Jarvis chiming in here. I think this is a wonderful way to broaden the membership of Hillsboro Inlet Sailing Club. And, you know, I'm not able to get down to a lot of the in-person meetings, but I would feel certainly connected to the club a lot more through this medium. So kudos to all you guys for putting this together. It's been one of the good things that's come out of this coronavirus thing. That's all I can say. Thanks.
All right, thank you, Jeff.
and I'm not a member yet, but I would certainly support Ramon as the chairman of the IT department for the club.
You know, we do have a place for him, right?
I see Steve in the other Steve. Are you on your boat? You're muted, so we can't hear you. Steve, you're muted. If you look on your picture, you've got a cross. There you go. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. We live on our boat.
So where are you located?
We're
In the cabin, I know.
No, the Lighthouse Point Yacht Club, where you guys always used to be.
Oh, okay.
Irwin 52.
Awesome. We didn't hear at all from Gary. Yep.
One question for Steve. Steve, I believe we met at the Lighthouse Point Yacht Club at the bar before one of our meetings.
No, we did several times. We wanted to join, he just kept putting it off, and now it's like, okay, I don't have anything else to do. Let's join the club.
What a great place. Yeah, no, it's fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. Looking forward to it, actually.
All right, nice. Very, very nice.
Well, everyone, I'm sorry to have to leave and I have to go to another call, but I definitely, Dale, we exchanged emails last week, so thank you for sending me the form, and I'll go ahead and send that in, and we'll definitely communicate, and thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Yeah, fantastic. It'd be great to have you. It's a great group. You'd be a great addition to the club. So yeah, thank you. Thank you for joining us.
We'll keep in touch.
Yeah, I'll be sending the form in too.
See you, Steve. You're gonna help me out. So you want to be part of the IT.
Right
So
on.
you enroll me, I'll enroll you. Take care, guys.
Thank you. Goodbye, Ramon. I think what I'm going to do is I'll go ahead and close this down as the formal part of this meeting. If you want to hang out and ask questions, I'll stick around for a little bit. Maybe my panelists will stick around for a little bit. If you didn't feel comfortable asking questions during the presentation, now is your time. I'll go ahead